Sir, did you authorize this? Did you authorize them to put hands on us?
Mark!
This would be a great lawsuit for y'all.
Did you authorize them to put hands on us? Unreasonable.
I'm mad
Unreasonable.
at you. I'm mad at you. Don't fucking record me.
Unbelievable.
Don't
This is what
fucking
happens
record
in
me.
America.
I told you that I have them because they are not supposed to record. Now they got a lawsuit.
No, you have a lawsuit for touching us.
No, it's
You
no
have a-
lawsuit.
this is a
Shit,
public-
well,
this is
it's
a
shit,
public
right? You
forum.
shouldn't be in here,
And you
period.
violated our First
Ain't no
Amendment rights.
violate shit.
And they shut the meeting down simply to remove us from the meeting.
Right, because you're not supposed to
Now
be
they're
here.
going to start the meeting
You're
back
not
up
supposed to be in here.
without us in there.
Who invited you?
I thought
Who
no
invited
one's
you?
illegal. No one is illegal.
You is.
No one
Get
is.
out of my building.
Wow.
Because I asked you.
This is a public forum.
let's
Excuse
go.
me, ma'am.
I'm
Excuse me,
asking
ma'am.
you nicely.
Yeah, but that doesn't
to
mean it's
go.
legal. That doesn't mean it's legal.
There's the police right here, the actual police.
You're not even police.
We filed an
No,
assault
this is a
charge.
public
They're
forum.
assaulting us right here.
How is it
Once
trespass?
you're told to leave, you have to leave.
Based on what?
I want to file assault charges on them.
Yes, sir, Baltimore Police Department. I'm recording all the videos, so you're aware.
This is unconstitutional.
There's a public forum. We're in here recording. They put hands on us. We didn't say a word. They put hands on us and dragged us out that building. It's all on camera. All on camera. Violation of my First Amendment and my civil rights.
Give me just a few moments. Let me go
All right.
outside and see what's going on.
All right.
Thank you for your service, gentlemen.
Thank you. I do want an arrest.
No, we don't arrest for misdemeanor assault in Baltimore City. It doesn't work like
They don't arrest for misdemeanor assault in the city, he just
They
said.
just said they don't arrest
Wow.
for Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at this one.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
We can just record each other. It's kind of cute.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool.
Cute, dude.
It's cool. You got your panties on today?
Oh,
You affirming?
Gather over there. Gather over there.
I'm sorry you guys had to
They're
do
not
that.
even real, bro. They're not even real.
We wanted to have a
Gather over
dialogue.
there. This town hall
We
looks
want to have a
terrible.
dialogue. Anyone that wants to have a dialogue. ICE is not the problem, guys. ICE is not the problem. No, criminals are. And the politicians at the top, criminals are. ICE is doing their job. If you want to protect your community,
What you are doing is not fostering dialogue.
Hey man, big dog, I need you, big dog, boy. Look here. Boy, I need you bad, man. Shit, I need about 50, man. Shit. I've been out here, goddamn me, waiting to see what I come up with, goddamn me. I said, let me go see boss. Goddamn me. Shit. You don't do that for me, big dog. I need about 50.
Man, it's too late, man, in the night, man.
Shit, man, when you off this shit, it ain't never too goddamn late. This shit don't sleep. Yeah, dog, this shit don't sleep, man. I'll hit you back.
Man, get off my paws, man. Get off my paws, man.
Hey, big dog. This goddamn drop, man. Come on out here and talk to me, man.
Man, I'm in the bed, man.
Man, shit. Hey, get out the bed, man. Don't come to the bed but to sleep. Man, wake your game up, big dog.
show me the video, and I will stand right next to you. Who called you that? So you said someone called
So I guess they're ICE out. It's more like town hall out of their library right now.
No. But that woman just lied. It's just,
What story do you think you're
And if y'all didn't defund the police, they would have been here a lot sooner too. There they go, getting all their gear out, guys. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Hey hey. So I'm waiting right here because they're not gonna, I'm gonna get a police report. This is a public library. I want to show you guys that. Public library, Enoch Pratt, whatever. Southeast Anchor Library, guys.
We support our border sovereignty. Illegals are welcome in America, but American journalists aren't welcome in a public space.
Can't wait, can't wait. They brought in like what, 10 security guards to they're special police, I guess, in Baltimore. They are employed by the tax dollars. As you know, we are still on public property right here. And that's why I was recording on 2 phones. We recorded from the second we walked in. Oh, they got it. They're going over here now. I'll be over there in a minute, but they're doing it outside now. Please share this out, guys. And again, 100% viewer funded, guys. Venmo and PayPal are at Oreo Josh. We got the Cash App, which is $ Oreo Army, and they'll put the Zelle link. Again, we are all the way in Baltimore right now, so if you guys want to help out, we appreciate it. Ben's over there. He's getting video over there. I want to ensure that we get a police report.
I'm going to talk a lot about big picture here.
I'll put it over
because
here.
Of the fact that at the level where ICE is operating with this entire system, we know explicitly that the direct
Why don't you?
Huh?
Trip down the stairs.
What?
Trip down the
Huh?
stairs. Fall off the stairs.
Huh?
Bust your head.
I only speak Spanish.
Outside of the United States, it is explicitly U.S. foreign policy to make life intolerable for the people of Venezuela. It is explicitly the policy of the United States to make life intolerable for the people of Cuba. It is explicitly the policy of the United States to make life intolerable for the people of Syria and Iraq.
Joshua.
If you look at everywhere where there is unrest, you will see the policy of the United States government in it, which will then take the people who flee from there to the only place.
Please don't touch me
think
again,
is
I
safe,
promise you.
You promised me
and then
not to touch
trap
you.
them in a
I will
human
defend myself,
trafficking
trust me.
ring, which
Oh,
is
This ain't my
what
first
ICE
rodeo.
is.
Are you going to
Duck
shoot
boy.
me with a gun?
Before you don't get a chance to talk.
Joshua?
Everyone's welcome here.
The explicit
Getting triggered there. You're getting triggered there.
point of ICE is as human trafficking. I actually have a friend who used to work for the Department of Justice in the Human
Look at
Trafficking
that one.
Division.
Not even pointing. So, because I wasn't pointing it at the speaker, I'm going to point it at the speaker now.
About having to rush to human trafficking sites and try to get there before ICE because of the fact that ICE leaves the human trafficking entire structure there and grabs all of the victims, all of the witnesses, and gets rid of them and traps them into either deportations or private prisons. And those private prisons, every single point is true. Every private prison includes
Look
slave
at him.
labor.
He put on his night-night music. He put on his night-night music.
Touch me again or I'll defend myself.
Go for it. You want to play games? You want to play games?
Play games. Let's play fucking games. What do you want to do? Let's do it.
You want to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac?
You're buying? You're broke. Can't do anything.
Prison slave labor. Fast food restaurants, including McDonald's. All of them. Costco. All of these companies, prison slave labor, to drive wages and income down for every worker, not just American workers, all across the world. This is a global capitalist empire. These are the same people who are running this child pedophile rings. And where are they finding those children, by the way?
Hey,
You got friends.
Who's
I do. This
trafficking
one looks
them?
Big Mac.
ICE,
Big Mac. Okay.
Donald Trump, and they
this
still
one likes-
haven't
He likes
released
Joshua.
Joshua.
Yeah, he likes baby music.
This is Josh. This is truck derangement syndrome.
101.
Where are all the
101.
people who were calling for mass murder of queer people whenever it was claimed that it was queer people who were pedophiles? Now that we know
You think that
it's
does
the
anything?
right
What do
and
you
the
think?
Republicans
On a video?
and some of the
the audio.
Democrats.
That's what you think you're
who are the
doing?
real
I know that's how it works.
pedophiles
Yeah, YouTube will take it down.
engaging
I'm not on
in
YouTube.
systemic human trafficking, sex
Oh,
trafficking, slave trafficking system.
that doesn't bother me at all.
Well, then you're walking away a
That's the
lot.
system that
Because
we're
you look
fighting
like a
against.
fool following me.
Oh, you look like a
Did-
fool eating me.
Really?
I think so.
Are you upset?
Not me personally. I wish that you could look not like a fool.
Really? Well, how far do you want to walk?
I love walking. It's so healthy for you.
Really?
It's so healthy for you. I
Yeah.
love walking.
Me too. I gotta walk 2 dogs right now.
They just want to get home so they can cuddle. That's what they want. They want to cuddle.
Yeah, I want to cuddle you, Joshua.
Yeah. Okay, here's the police right here. So I'm going to make sure I get my report. So they got a Sarge here. It's all on video, all the security. They're going to cover each other. This is all city. Again, we support law enforcement, but there's like DC and others. There's some really bad, I guess you could say, corrupt departments. So we're going to find out if how this police report looks for being assaulted. What happened to your eye? What happened to your eye, bud?
I'm good.
Some little kid beat you up?
All right, then we have Sharon. If nobody else wants to speak, I'm just going to repeat.
This could be a huge lawsuit, and we're going to be riding around with ICE in the morning. So we are actually doing a ride along with ICE. So it's going to be interesting when we give them this information. Hopefully this can be pushed up the Trump administration right here. That would be epic. We were just with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche in Las Vegas on Tuesday at the SHOT Show. So from Las Vegas to DC to Baltimore now.
Basically, what we're doing tomorrow, because our power is greater than all of that. Tomorrow in Minneapolis, they are shutting Minnesota and Minneapolis down.
Who shuts stuff down? A camera, apparently.
What it's called is a general strike. And when the working class...
So we're waiting for the police right now. They're still out here. You guys can hear them from the speaker. They're going to shut stuff down. They're going to do no shopping. They're not going to go get fast food. They're not going to get food, and that's going to hurt ICE, which is already funded with the one big, beautiful bill.
There is literally nothing they can do to stop us. Dr. King did it. And we'll do it again.
It was
Civil disobedience, whatever.
these security, our special force police right here that you guys see in there. I got them all on video. Physically assaulted us, pulled us out of a public area for doing a First Amendment protected activity.
And that Trump, who stands for the billionaires, is in the minority. No matter how many goons, no matter how much they pay ICE to terrorize and torture people, they will not succeed.
That guy right there laying hands on people. He thinks he's going to be protected. He loses any qualified immunity that he might have through the special police force. Again, we were never rude, never raised my voice. I didn't even talk the whole time. I wanted that to be proof on video.
Renee, You were driving away. Renee, Renee, Renee. You were protecting, fleeing, caring, being, doing no harm. Renee, Renee.
At any rate, come out.
He's trying, he doesn't probably even understand the First Amendment, that officer's reading their policy. Their policy is for production purposes. You have a right to video record.
We're gonna march arm in arm.
They're gonna march arm in arm, guys.
White.
I'm gonna hang out right here in the middle so those cops don't get away.
The Latinx community, all of us, we'll be together.
I would love that. Oh, we got another officer. It was supposed to be an early night tonight, guys. Gonna record their ICE out town hall, go home, and wake up early to work again more. This is another sergeant right here. How you doing, Sarge? The people that want to defend them are right there. The people that want to defund them, sorry. They were in there already complaining tonight about police and everything else. They want to defund the police, and the first thing they do is call the police when things don't go their way, when they want to violate somebody's First Amendment right.
In this struggle together we will win. Thank you.
I do want to file a police report. They called every security guard
I do. Legal. Follow the law. Stop victimizing American citizens.
Okay, now they're going in there to talk to them. They got to get their story straight probably, but it's all on video. Look at them.
Say what? Ain't nobody like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop.
I don't know who that woman is.
The power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. When I say crush, you say ice, crush, crush. When I say crush, you say ice, crush, crush. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ice out of Baltimore, say. Ice out of Baltimore, say.
I wonder if he's giving them an education that he just got into a really big lawsuit. God bless ICE! God bless ICE! God bless ICE! God bless ICE! God bless ICE!
KKK, no fascist USA! No Trump, no ICE, no fascist USA! ICE, KKK, BPD, they're all the same!
See? Baltimore PD, ICE, KKK. And they just called the police.
ICE, KKK, BPD, they're all the same!
You certainly called the police fast for wanting to defund them, huh?
My sisters, brothers, and siblings, thank you so much for attending and get home safe.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? We're gonna wait for the police still. And I'll give you all a shout out if you guys donated. Again, we can't travel the country, we can't do things without you guys. If the mods will please put up our donation link so we can continue to have some fun. Expose the left.
No, but you're not telling facts. No, you don't listen. You don't listen. If you were reporting, you would listen. You would listen. You would listen. But you would talk over everything. You talk over everything.
See how it is? See how it is?
Nikki, gotcha.
To everybody in the entire program. I walked in.
So again, they've been working with the leftist in there for what, 15 minutes now. They haven't talked to us at all. They're getting everything together like somehow something was wrong. All we did was film on public property. They thought they could have their little communist, anti-ICE, anti-America little forum here today.
What's going on over here?
There's a group in the library. We went in to film them, and which is our First Amendment rights. They didn't like it, so they had security drag us out.
They cross our border without
The ICE is here.
No, ICE isn't here. This is an anti-ICE protest. We were here filming.
You think that Baltimore the ICE is? The ICE is there in Baltimore?
I have no idea. I don't have anything.
Okay, so they're not, because it's a private property, that's why they chase you out, right?
No, it's public property. It's taxpayer funded. My tax dollars fund this. Yeah, it's not private.
Oh, it's not private.
And that's what they're learning right now. They laid hands on, which is assault, and they violated my constitutional rights. So that's why they're in there kind of nervous right now.
Wow. They only put on you, they only just put on you, the hands on you, just on you? Or?
Me and the other journalist over there. So I thought they were going to be walking out. I guess not. I'm just not going to let this.
Like these guys are
They
doing their job.
Yes.
To go into the community.
gaslighting yourself, sir.
Renee Good trying to run over the officer.
You think Renee Good tried
Yes,
to run over the
100%.
Damn this fucking thing. Are you 100%?
From 100%.
Look like do you believe in
Every
second
other
amendment?
angle, no.
Do you believe in
that
second
one
amendment?
angle.
Do you own firearms?
100%.
Are you licensed to own firearms? Do you actually own firearms?
I
Not 100%.
I do.
Okay, so let's talk about something. Rules of engagement.
Yeah.
What's your
At
social?
what point are you a Maryland resident?
I'm not.
My
You're
social
not.
security?
Okay, where are you from?
542
Let's just say America.
4841.
That shouldn't matter because we're all.
Well, it does.
Say it
because
back now.
states-
Say it back now.
That's my business.
Well, actually, the Constitution does. I would
The
say it's
Constitution does
unconstitutional.
not.
Yes, it
is at the
does.
state level.
No
The states
infringement.
have
Yes, but there are a lot of
ability to regulate.
unconstitutional
No infringement,
laws.
and
Right.
yet, what is the 10th Amendment?
Okay, so where are
What
you
is
going
the
with
10th
this?
Amendment?
Where are you going with this? States' rights.
Those not directly
Yes.
will be down to the states.
Right, but the
so
Constitution
tell me why
is very
it the
clear.
States regulate
Shall not
firearms.
be infringed.
States regulate
because they broke.
firearms.
It hasn't been adjudicated at the Supreme Court.
Doesn't
All of
matter.
it should be overturned.
What is the
you
fact
should
of the
be able to
current
own.
day?
You
What is
should
the
be able to
fact
own
of the current
any
day?
gun that you want as a free
That is
American.
your belief, but that is not
No, that's what the
reality.
Constitution. I'm saying
Look at
based
they're
on the
putting music on thinking that's going to do something.
Based on the
Look
Constitution.
at Annie's touching him.
Let's talk facts.
Annie's
You don't
assaulting
like the
him.
Constitution?
I love the
So
Constitution.
where are you getting your rights from? If you don't
I
like
am
it?
getting my rights.
He gets, the more content he gets, the more money he makes.
This guy.
But again,
Wait, actually, what media do you work for? What media do you work for?
It's literally on his hat. It's literally on his hat. He's asking what media he works for. Did your battery die? You better restart it. You better restart it.
Somebody from Real America's Voice, you don't even deserve my time anymore. I pray that you are the teachings of Jesus.
You lost him.
a lot of people have lost Jesus.
Excuse me, sir. Are you out here in support of ICE?
Yes. God bless ICE.
Amen.
God bless ICE.
Amen.
God bless ICE.
These men have child pornography on their laptops.
Says the guy that probably actually has it. I'm filming that one. Unbelievable. You try to come to an event to have a dialogue, and you're shut down immediately. They ended up physically removing us from it.
Look at how triggered they are from a camera. It's all started from a camera. Hey, they're in there getting all their stories together. They're bringing the organizers in one by one.
The police?
Well, the people are coming out, and the police are over
Hopefully
there.
they take our statements too.
Well, no, I'm waiting for a police report.
Yeah, good.
Seriously, I mean,
Good.
Yeah. With what we've seen with the Attorney General today,
Yeah.
and what they're doing after going over the violation, Harmeet Dillon could come in here. It's a violation.
Yeah.
And if they have qualified immunity, they lost their qualified immunity by putting hands on us.
I just think it's amazing that the cops said that they don't arrest in Baltimore. They don't arrest for misdemeanor assault. That's unbelievable.
I mean, isn't that good to know if you're walking around, you want to assault somebody? You want to assault somebody?
It's like Don Lemon said, it's not a crime.
It's not
Misdemeanors aren't a crime.
Misdemeanors aren't a crime.
Why do we even call it a misdemeanor anymore? Just say it's nothing. Just say it's nothing.
How you doing, brother? Hey, you used to be in D.C. back in the day. You would hang out with me and my buddies in D.C. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right on. How you doing?
Good.
Okay, so again, waiting to see. We violated no laws. Everything was recorded. This guy right here was absolutely aggressive. He had no right to lay hands on me. And then here comes this one right here. Here's another organizer speaking right there. They're going and getting everything from the organizer. Look at that. This is the lady. MAGA out now. Remember? We got MAGA folks in here. Talk about discrimination. Talk about discrimination, and all that is recorded. This is going to blow up, guys. This is going to blow up once it hits social media. I'll need you guys to all share it out. But maybe, I can't come to Baltimore all the time. You know, this travel is expensive, but I'm sure we have a lot of people near this area that can. We violated absolutely no laws. And that's why I asked him. I said, under threat of arrest. And he never said he would arrest me. But then they you seen the video of them dragging me and Ben out. Look at all this, guys. Look at the left. The left loves the police. If it's to silence somebody else's First Amendment right. I'm an American citizen. They are here to stand up for people who came into this country illegally, who both Democrats and Republicans signed laws and passed bills so that ICE would go out there. Don't let Democrats fool you. If they didn't like it, they would change the laws. They just had Biden in office with the House and the Senate. They didn't change any laws for people that came into this country illegally. But now you have all these groups that are standing up for people that came into this country illegally, but they want to take away rights from American citizens. So you still have a small group out here. They're getting all loaded up. I told you guys there might be a surprise. You guys always got to follow. If you haven't followed the channel, we'll have more.
That's the part and I get frustrated, and I maybe don't react the way I should as a Christian, but I pray about that. I try my best to do that. But I think the only way that we actually fix any of this is if we come together, you come together, I come together, and we disagree,
nice to meet you, Josh.
and we say,
Annalise,
this is
nice to meet you as well.
These are my objectives, these are my priorities, my family. God, my priorities are God, family, country. So God is a Christian, that's my number one priority. Family is a build. The only build have a different, but we all have a similar, we have core beliefs and things that we want to protect, and we want to live a generally peaceful life. You know, make money, whatever, have.
And they're spending a lot of time getting all their stories straight in there. Hopefully they all have their body cams on. We can request body cam footage of this event, and we will do that when we get back into town. Once we get an incident number, they have no right to touch somebody who's being 100% peaceful and following the law. It is assault. Will anything happen to them? No, but I'm telling you right now, there's probably an attorney out there that wants this case pretty quickly. I mean, they were literally out here comparing BPD, which is Baltimore Police Department, to the KKK and Nazis, and they are the first one to call them. If you guys are just tuning in, we are in Baltimore, Maryland right now. We came to a Ice Out Town Hall here at the Southeast Anchor Branch, the library, where it is publicly funded by your tax dollars. And went in there, started filming. That's all we did from the second we walked in. And you've seen them. They cornered us. They surrounded us. We ended up sitting back down. And so I definitely want to get my police report number, and then we can follow up with the video evidence.
Stuff in our car, just go to the office.
The other stuff.
I was gonna say I can go get my food for the night.
Library has closed for the night.
I met you last time.
The library has closed because the anti-ice and special police force bid. Okay, let me make sure this is right here. See, I think they're getting ready to come out here in a minute. Put this on the tripod a little better so I don't keep moving it back and forth. And hopefully we can go back home tomorrow night, guys. There is a storm coming through. I have the airline ticket from DCA. We'll see what happens. I will literally be sleeping on the streets tomorrow night if they cancel these plane flights. Expect a live stream from the air terminal. So we are still waiting right now. All the police are in there. They're spending a lot of time with them. Look at this. They're showing them some paperwork. They don't have a right. Just because they're communists, they don't get to enact communist policies and take away people's rights. That was the person, that lady speaking now is the one that was saying we got MAGA in the room recording and said that we were going to get removed from the venue. Again, the venue is a public library, folks. And I think this is why they're kind of worried right now. I really think the reason why this is taking so long, you could see Big Man's on his phone right now. Do you think we could just have a MAGA rally or a pro-ICE rally or any rally and exclude the public from a public facility? There comes some officers out. Let's see, I think. Again, if you notice, buddy with the leftist groups around here. The people that want to defund them. It's unfortunate. Pray for these officers' safety. Baltimore is not the most friendliest place. Excuse me, sir. Officer.
Sir,
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Am I going to get a police report number for the assault?
So you can speak to the officer inside there. I didn't know anything about an assault. You can speak to that officer in there, and as soon as he comes out, and then he will get your information, okay?
Appreciate you.
No problem,
God bless you.
God bless you too.
I said officer, he said sergeant. He speaks to, that's one thing that's frustrating. They are conditioned. He speaks to the people protesting and wanting him to lose his job better than he does to actual people that are out just exercising his First Amendment right. So that officer is now taken off. I guess the sergeants drive black cars here in Baltimore. So I want a police report.
Pick your battles wisely, okay? Because we got the sad man here wanting to know what's up. We got him wanting to know what's up. So why not just tell him what's up? Why not? Why not? Why not just tell him what's up? Maybe we could just find out what's up in a live setting, because some of y'all might know about that protest of them people that walked into that church and bothered all those people that was praying because the pastor was an ICE officer, ICE agent, whatever you want to call it. And then they walked out like, yeah, we did it. But nothing really happened and they still deport Mexicans. Well, lo and behold, ever since then, a lot of people have been calling for all of those people to be arrested. And our resident here on the left is very upset that the woman on the right has been arrested. And let's see how he responds.
They've just arrested Nikema Armstrong for our protest on Sunday. You know, my lawyers tell me they have no fucking case. This use of the FACE Act and the KKK Act is complete bullshit, but let's be...
Excuse me? The face of the what? The face of the what?
The FACE Act and the KKK Act is complete bullshit.
Now, when I look at these two people, if anybody's supposed to be, like, arrested under a potential KKK Act, I'm gonna lean more to that person on the left.
But let's be honest, they don't fucking care. They don't believe in the rule of law. They're fascists. They're now going after fucking the Clintons for the Epstein files? What the fuck?
By the way, great round of applause by the United States government. Round of applause. Got everybody to stop talking about the Epstein list. Round of applause. I'm gonna be honest with you. Satisfactory round of applause. Round of a fucking applause. I told y'all months ago.
Man, the people that want to defund you are the ones you bow down to. Isn't that great? You're all the ones that want to defund them, right? But when you need them, you call.
Bro, I'm literally just standing here. Hey,
Josh, so just to clarify, that officer said they're not doing a police report?
They won't even do a police report for me.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
You know, it is funny though, the same people that want to defund the police,
yeah,
are the first ones to call the police.
And if they weren't defunded, it wouldn't have took them 46 minutes to get here from the first phone call.
That's exactly right. And by defunding, them admitting that they don't prosecute misdemeanor assaults, like, what do you do?
Can we get this to somebody in the administration? I mean, they're literally...
Yeah, we can.
Because I do. I'm going to follow through on a lawsuit. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to change this.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. Thank you.
I'm going to go record again. And thank you for anybody that donates. Before I log off, I'll check my email. And again, appreciate you. This is the corruption in Democrat-run cities. Sanctuary policies where they stand up for illegal aliens ahead of American citizens while their communities look like absolute trash. Our drive over here was horrible. Look at, they're gonna put a chain on the door. Oh, they went out. They left. That's amazing. That's amazing. I guarantee if that was me that laid my hands on somebody. Okay, let me do something really quick, guys. I will be putting something together. I'm going to be really busy, but on that plane flight, I'm going to edit some video and get that. Let me see if anybody donated. I hope y'all appreciate it. Shelly, thank you. Renee, thank you. Sino, thank you. Let's see if we got, that was all on Cash App. Hold on. Just absolutely insane what we're seeing here today, guys. It exposes people. Julie, thank you. Nola, thank you. Anybody that did a super chat or a Rumble rant, I can't see that right now. But Nola, I don't see any PayPal. Janice, thank you. Appreciate you. Haha, thank you. Haha was in the chat, huh? Was she going crazy? We got some stuff at home I'm gonna need help with too. They're going after the good guys back home. I can't talk about it. And Susan, thank you, Susan. That's who I'm showing right now. If anybody else pops up, Renee, thank you guys again. We are in Baltimore. We're gonna be doing something. I can't be live for tomorrow. Obviously, you know, when we record, we have to cut out ICE's, we're gonna be riding with ICE tomorrow, but we have to cut out all their faces and everything else. So again, I will get edited copies of what we go out and do tomorrow. And then again, if you could say a prayer that this storm doesn't stop because my layover's in Dallas. And there's some crazy weather, and it's supposed to 18 to 36 inches of snow here in DC. I wish I could stay for y'all, but I can't do that. We've been gone. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody, because again, we can't do this without you guys. You guys rock. We tried to stand our ground today, right? At least we got it videotaped. They said there was no assaults. We seen, you guys knew that was clear as day. I mean, when you have a security guard, which is a special police officer, blocking your camera, I went in there, you can go back to the video, I didn't say a word. Didn't say a word to anybody. Wasn't in there to cause conflict. I really wanted to get the video of what they're training folks to do. I am in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland right now. And well, hopefully I can get a good dinner now. 7:30 here right now. Again, Susan S. And then if anybody else donated, I appreciate y'all. And hopefully you guys like this, exposing what's really going on. And not just that, the Baltimore Police Department. When you call and ask for a police report so that you can have the wheels of justice turning, I'm gonna do my best to hold them accountable, guys. I'm up against a giant machine. I'm a little guy, but we do have some connections. Maybe I can get something to Harmeet Dillon. And maybe, I mean, we were just with the Deputy Attorney General 3 days ago. There's an interview. Go to Real America's Voice News. We were at the SHOT Show in Vegas. Oh, and Karen, thank you, Karen, for the Venmo. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Again, blessings to all. We're gonna hop in the car. We're gonna go get something to eat out of this area. But just amazing that these people that, again, that maybe they're not all bad, but again, when you have a department that's that corrupt, that goes to bat for these people, when we have it on video, you heard them. I said, you're not gonna give me a police report? I got all that on video. I'll be editing some stuff. And again, I wanna put this up one last time really quick, just in case you all feeling generous, like that poor white man, we're gonna help out that. I do look a little homeless. I do look a little homeless today. I got the scruff. But again, and shout out to Ben. We've been doing some excellent work today. Ran into Machado from Venezuela. We went to a great event where they honored Tom Holman. All those videos are getting edited right now. And then obviously came down here. We'll be doing some stuff in the morning. But I just want to say thank you to everybody, guys. We got a Cash App right now. Patricia.
This motherfucker is telling me that he has an update for everybody, and then it cuts to a travel vlog. Nigga, I don't want to see that shit. And the sick part, I told everybody before you uploaded that video, you're going to see videos of people wasting your time. Hi, everybody. New update on the DoorDash girl. If you don't know about the DoorDash girl, here's about 3 to 5 minutes recapping what happened. I was making a joke, Leon. Yeah, but your joke led me to remembering that there was an actual update about DoorDash girl. So, you know, thanks for that. Thanks for that. You reminded me of something. Don't be upset. Most YouTubers do that. All YouTubers do that. I've done it. That's why I could say it's douchey. It's like, unless it's a story that needed an update and it's like 2 years fucking old, I don't think it's necessary. And Atozi in that same video did a great job dancing around how much information he was just burping out as if it was fact. It's almost like trials take forever and YouTubers hate that they can't make a video a week about it. What happened to all the groundbreaking information about Carmelo Anthony? It's almost like I told y'all that you're not getting a significant update about Carmelo Anthony stabbing that white kid until, I think, June or July. Oops. But then you'll have motherfuckers be like, why come we haven't gotten an update about this? Well, if you'd listen, instead of just hoping that the outcome ends today, Carmelo is quiet as a church mouse. I mean, he's been quiet the whole time. Really, since the fucking stabbing, you haven't really seen him. Like, you haven't really seen him since the stabbing. You've seen his parents. You've seen motherfuckers who are representatives, but you really haven't seen him. And honestly, that's a smart thing. Don't get on these fucking stations and social media saying too much shit. Go to that fucking courtroom and try to win. And maybe you will, maybe you won't. Who knows? All it takes is a little bit of time and convincing of a jury. You might be able to win. You might go to jail for a long time. And this is the sick part. I said it the last time I talked about this shit. I'll say it again. He's either going to jail or he's not. I mean, fuck. He's either going or he's not. And guess what?
I love Trump. And, you know, it's terrible. I was told that by a lot of people. They say, oh, he loves...
So President Trump suffers from something called Cobra syndrome or something. What is that? Like somewhere in the... We're just like going to paraphrase with misinformation, something that is factual. Y'all can go look it up for yourself. You'll see the misinformation, but you'll understand that the bottom line is true. Back in like the 14th century or something, the government was like, yo, we got a snake problem. Yo, bring us a cobra's head and we'll pay you. So the government paid people for like cobra heads or cobra tails. The people brought them all kinds of cobra tails. Then the people were like, we're poor. A side hustle is we're going to start breeding cobras. Then we're going to take them to the government and get money, right? So ultimately, the government paid for cobra tails because they had a cobra problem. And then paying for the tails made the problem worse because then the people started breeding snakes, right? And then when the government is like, whoa, last week you brought me 1 snake tail and this week you brought me 5, they're like, what's going on? They realized the people were breeding snakes, so they stopped paying them. Then the city had more cobras than ever. What's the moral of the story? People will always take their own self-interest over what's good for the group of the people, at least in America. The results might be different in other countries because some countries learn to serve the good of the group.
He was I hope he still feels that way in this hard situation. But her father was a tremendous, and parents were tremendous.
So I'm at a shelter, I promise you. Like I'm going live, and they're intentionally trying to disrupt the live. They're intentionally, because earlier today they said, please don't make it about trans issues, and please don't make it about illegal migrants, but it is about that, isn't it? When I bust my ass and pay taxes, and I can't be served, but everyone else can, including illegal migrants who don't pay taxes, and then they do this random fire drill, which they've never done. But I'm going live, so they're trying to interrupt my stream. They can keep doing it.
David Easterwood is a pastor here. He is also the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. So someone who claims to worship God, teaching people in this church about God, is out there overseeing ICE agents. Think about what we've experienced. The murder of Reneegood at the hands of ICE. A Venezuelan national shot by ICE. A 6-month-old baby who almost died as a result of ICE unleashing military-grade weapons on our community. How dare you claim to be a pastor of God and you are involved in evil in our community?
I think Jesus would be understanding. We're about worship these folks. We're about spreading the love of Jesus. But did you try to talk to them? As no church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday, and we were interrupted by this group of protesters. We asked them to leave, and they obviously obviously have not lived.
In reciprocal experiments, Ekman filmed the four's own expressions while they enacted emotions and showed these to Americans who also recognized them correctly at incredibly high rates. This bidirectional evidence minimized bias and strengthened the claim that these expressions are indeed hardwired. Further studies replicated these findings across continents. In one experiment, Ekman and colleagues tested members of 21 literate cultures and 11 pre-literate African cultures. The findings were that 92 to 96% of people were able to identify happy faces uniformly. There were similar consistencies for disgust and contempt. Perhaps more remarkably, and this one shocked me when I was researching this, even blind people who have never in their life seen facial expressions, blind people spontaneously produce similar facial expressions. The obvious conclusion is that the facial expressions are innate. They are not learned. For instance, congenitally blind athletes at the Paralympics display the same victory smiles or defeat grimaces as their sighted companion Olympians. This points to a genetic component, perhaps, possibly linked to the limbic system and facial muscles controlled by cranial nerves. He identified 7 universal expressions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. These are triggered by the autonomic nervous system, ensuring rapid automated responses. Neuroimaging supports this conclusion. Functional MRI scans show consistent activation when viewing these expressions across ethnic groups. However, universality does not imply identical expressions in all contexts. Ekman introduced display rules, culturally learned norms that modulate how emotions are shown. For example, Japanese participants suppressed negative expressions in the presence of an authority figure, but they displayed the negative expressions when alone, mirroring American patterns in private, but differing quite differently publicly. This reconciles apparent cultural differences with underlying universals. Anthropologists previously had argued expressions were culture-specific. Ekman's neurocultural theory explains observations as display rules in action, not contradictions. The implications of this are profound. In evolutionary terms, universal facial expressions make perfect sense. They likely aided survival by enabling quick threat detection or alliance formations in ancestral environments. Imagine, if you will, coming face to face with a stranger. How do you know whether that stranger is a threat? Well, you read the stranger's face. Today, the study of facial expressions assists in fields like lie detection. The concept of micro-expressions are used in security training. Micro-expressions, of course, are the fleeting, involuntary flashes of true emotion. You know them when you see them, even if you can't articulate what you just saw. In artificial intelligence, algorithms trained on universal patterns improve emotion recognition in apps like mental health apps or customer service apps. Clinically, understanding these universals helps diagnose disorders like autism, where facial processing can be impaired, or schizophrenia, where expressions are blunted or confused. Ekman's thesis on universality of facial expressions is pretty widely accepted today. It has replicated extensively with over 1,000 studies citing his findings. It's this repeatability and universality that gives credibility to the ability of large groups seemingly having the same warm or cold reaction to seeing someone in person or on camera. It could be a fleeting glance or a repeating expression. You know it when you see it, even if you can't explain it. This universality underpins why some people intuitively perceive certain gazes as evil eyes. While difficult to define, evil eyes broadly can be described as malevolent facial expressions. These malevolent facial expressions seem to convey threat or ill intent. For certain people, it's tempting to chalk the perception up to some measure of insanity, perhaps demonic influence. The concept of evil eyes has deep cultural roots. The idea of evil eyes appears in folklore across the Mediterranean, the Middle Eastern, and Latin American societies as a curse inflicted through glares. Ekman's work supports this perception by linking it to biologically hardwired responses, to negative facial cues, if you will. For instance, anger is expressed through furrowed brows, narrowed eyes, and tightened lips. It creates a piercing stare that signals aggression or hostility. Contempt is characterized by a unilateral lip curl and a sidelong glance. It conveys superiority and disdain, often interpreted as being cold-hearted, perhaps sinister. Disgust involves a wrinkled nose, a raised upper lip. It evokes revulsion that can be misread as moral judgment or perhaps malice. Ekman's research reveals that these expressions trigger automatic alarm in observers. The theory is that these expressions either evolved or were otherwise programmed into humanity to detect potential dangers in social interactions. This explains why a stranger's glare might feel inherently evil. It's not a superstition. It's not even bias. It's hardwired into us. It allows us to recognize threats. Ekman's studies on microexpressions further bolster this. These subtle cues, they often betray concealed emotions, such as hidden anger or contempt, even when someone tries to mask them. In contexts like interpersonal conflicts or deception, a microexpression of narrowed eyes or a fleeting sneer can evoke the evil eye sensation, as it reveals underlying malevolence.
When curiosity strikes about the everyday lives of your family, we're here with answers only your ancestors can provide. See their stories at Ancestry.
Society rejects them for a reason. Okay, and again, this is not anti-LGBTQ. This is anti-men who haven't even gone through the full transition, taking up all of women's resources, and this is and then it's not some fairy cookie story like you liberals who are sitting at home tell yourself. It's not like all these trans women or men are coming in here and they're like Mother Teresa. No, they're drunk, they're high, they're presenting as men who want to beat women's asses. But then when you say, hey, this trans man, woman, this man who wants to be a woman is a problem, don't say anything about the trans community. Okay, so this trans man, woman, who is threatening everybody in the dorm is allowed to threaten everyone in the dorm, and no one's allowed to say anything because they're trans. And that's politically incorrect to say this trans person is harassing the dorm and always on drugs. That's the reality. This isn't some cookie cutter sugar story shit about a male who really thinks he's a woman and wants to be a woman and he's the perfect woman. No, he's on drugs. He's harassing everybody. He's violent. And he's a he, by the way, because he has a dick. So I'm really sick of it. As a woman, American woman paying taxes and in direct competition. This isn't a theory. This isn't a hypothetical. This is my life. And these men who are wanting to be women or not, they have dicks, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being harassed by them. I'm sick of being threatened by them. I'm sick of competing for the fucking bathroom and the shower with men. So yeah, like as MAGA says, liberals can go suck a dick, because that's literally what trans men and women are telling me. And I'm in the wrong, no. No, I'm telling the freaking truth. Okay, and like people who don't have firsthand experience in a women's shelter dealing with men who want to be women, you're not the expert. Oh, you're a theorist who has some la-di-da-di. This is Trump's whole point and why people find Trump aggressive. Your guys' idealism doesn't fucking work in reality. Men are men and women are women, which is why the president, and this is the first thing I agreed with the president on, and I have many things that I disagree on, but the first thing the president said that I agree on is restoring biological truth. And if we can't restore it, trans people still need their own fucking spaces, because here's the truth. Fucking women don't want to share a goddamn dormitory-style shelter bed with a big fucking horn next to them. They don't act like women. They act like fucking aggressive, confused men, women, he, she creatures who are on drugs. They're not like these, like, palatable people. They're not like these respectable people. No, they're on drugs. They're often prostituting themselves. And then they have the strength of man. And then you're asking women who are more vulnerable than men to deal with all the riffraff of New York, which, yes, is the trans community. You're asking them to deal with the fucking male trans and the women trans, and you don't give them any of them to the men's shelters. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And that's just one of the many women's issues, which is men, once again, being prioritized over women. Okay, women in sports have a problem with it for a very good reason. And women are never going to stop having a problem with trans men in their spaces because we should have a problem with it. You're not fucking women. I said it. You guys have dicks for a reason. Because you're men. And no, we shouldn't be sharing our dorms, our bathrooms, our sports arenas. It's hard enough to be a woman. And now we gotta share it with men. Our accomplishments, our goals. That season fucking Caitlyn Jenner made Women of the Year. We should still be insulted by it. America is fucked up. America's the only country that would allow bullshit to constantly occur. And then you guys wanna be number one. I hate to say it, but Donald Trump might be the one to get us back on the right path because this is bullshit. And we need effective leaders who act quick and horrifying. Because yeah, liberals and people who think rose-colored glasses people, idealists who favor ideals over reality are fucking up America. No, there's a practical way to do things. Trans people don't belong in women's shelters. There's efficiency, there's practicality. And so this is what I want to say about our president. Donald Trump, some harm. Okay, so this is the thing. It's just like the police chief of any small police station. Like, he can make his hires, he can make his decisions, but rogue officers, they still shouldn't really be on the police chief. Like, people have autonomy. They have the ability to do wrong or evil on their own. So are ICE agents acting rogue? Are ICE agents doing bullshit? Yes, ICE agents are acting rogue and doing bullshit. And that needs to be stopped. And that's why demanding justice for Renee Good is important. But with that being said, we shouldn't say, oh, Trump is evil terrorist because some of the ICE agents go rogue. Because at the end of the day, illegal migrants gotta go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Illegal migrants got to go. We don't have the resources for it. And every illegal migrant we take on, another American suffers. To be honest. Because it is. I don't care how practical you think you are or idealistic you think you are. There's only so much manpower, so much money. America first. Not India first or Zimbabwe first or Nigeria first. Meanwhile, there is a lot of fraud in this country. Not only because of pharmaceutical companies. I'm always talking about the big corporations in America because America is turning into a corporation. But because of illegal fraud. You know, as a woman, I'm being policed by fucking Nigerians, quite literally, and I'm tired of it. Go back to Nigeria. And literally, my advocate told me, don't be making this about illegal migrants at the shelter or transgenders at the shelter. He should have just been on my side, comforted me, because you know how I responded? Why not push hard to get illegal migrants out of the shelter? Why not push hard to get transgender women out of women's shelter?
continues, folks. Crime scene. Chaos continues. Let me see what's going on. Oh, they got another feed up too. All right, so they got multiple feeds here. I'm going to get the report here. We're going to kind of share what's going on. Washington, D.C. Shooting. Oh, yeah, crime scene tapes going on. At least 4 shot. Oh, at least 4 shot. What's going on here? At least 4 people shot. The reports are saying at least 4 people shot in Washington, D.C. Was this a mass shooting? Seriously, was this a mass shooting? At least 4 people shot. EMS at the scene, 4 people shot. At least 4 shot. I'll show you the reports.
And the reason I leave this country is because my needs are not met here. As a woman, men who want to be women are prioritized before me, and illegal women who are not working, not Americans, are prioritized before me. That's why I leave America. That's why I've been deported twice back to America.
All right, so it's saying at least 4 people shot. I'm going to go over to this feed here. At least 4 people shot with the situation. So looks like we might have some sort of gang related, gang stuff. Gang related. I don't know, crazy stuff. I don't know. At least 4 people shot. Metropolitan. I'll turn the volume up as soon as they come to the microphone.
They don't care about anything. That's partly why they want to destroy NATO, by the way. That's them. That's where it's coming from. We'll be back.
Shooting. Multiple fatalities. Fatalities could be also, or casualties. I'm sorry, not fatalities. I'm sorry. Multiple casualties. At least 4. So maybe there's more than 4. Crazy stuff. All right, so we're going to continue to sit here and see what happened. I don't know what happened yet. We're going to see.
That sounds incredibly frustrating and unfair. You're out there doing tough, essential work as an HHA, caring for vulnerable people, on weird hours probably, and you just need decent rest to stay sharp and safe. It's bullshit if the shelter's handing out private rooms or better accommodations to others based on claimed conditions while denying you something basic like quiet sleep because your reason is just work. On the trans part, yeah, Trump's executive order from day one in 2025 pushed hard to define everything by biological sex in federal stuff, including shelters. It led HUD to stop enforcing the old rules that required placing people by gender identity. So now, many women's shelters, especially federally funded ones, can, and some do, limit access to biological women only. That lines up with the biological truth thing he was talking about. Whether trans people should have totally separate shelters? A lot of folks argue yes, because women's shelters are meant to be safe spaces away from male bodies and potential trauma triggers, and separate ones could solve conflicts without forcing anyone out. In practice, there aren't many dedicated trans shelters because numbers are small and funding's tight, but the idea makes sense for fairness and safety on both sides. Hang in there. If your shelter gets any federal money, The new policies might actually help push back on including trans women soon. If you're getting denied rest you need for work, maybe document everything and look into local advocacy or legal aid for homeless workers. Some places have ways to fight for accommodations, even if it's not a disability. You deserve better.
Committee will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess at any time. We welcome everyone to today's hearing on oversight of the Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Florida to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll begin today's hearing with opening statements. The chair is now recognized for an opening statement. It was always about politics. And to get President Trump, they were willing to do just about anything. January 7th, 2023, Kevin McCarthy becomes Speaker of the House. 16 days later, Jack Smith issues a subpoena for his phone records. Phone records from 2 years prior for a 2-month time frame, Election Day 2020 to January 7th, 2021. Jack Smith and the Biden Justice Department get the phone records of the top Republican in government, the guy second in line to the president. They know who he called, who called him, when the call took place, and how long it lasted. You can pattern an individual's life. They know who the speaker talked to before big votes, who he talked to after big votes, when he calls his colleagues, when he calls his family. And to add insult to injury, they go to the judge with the subpoena for a gag order on the carrier. AT&T, don't tell your customer, the Speaker of the House, that you just gave his phone calls to Jack Smith and Joe Biden. And here's the kicker. They say to the court, we need this gag order because he's a flight risk. Someone might tamper with witnesses or with evidence. Are you kidding me? The Speaker of the House is going to run? They got my phone records for 2.5 years. Even the Democrats said this was wrong. But of course, we shouldn't be surprised. Democrats have been going after President Trump for 10 years, for a decade. And the country should never, ever forget what they did. Over the next few hours, we're going to hear a lot of yelling and screaming, I assume, from the other side. But we should never forget what took place, what they did to the guy we the people elected president twice. It all started in 2016 when they spied on his campaign. The Clinton campaign hired the law firm Perkins Coie, who hired the public relations firm Fusion GPS, who hired a foreigner, Christopher Steele, to put together the fake dossier. Bunch of garbage in that document, but that was used by Jim Comey's FBI. And we all know Jim Comey. He was the guy who just last year was strolling along the beach when the good Lord had the waves wash up on shore seashells in the formation of 8647. That guy took that dossier to the FISA court, lied to the court, and then spied on the other party's campaign. This, of course, led to the Mueller investigation. 2.5 years, 19 lawyers, 40 agents, $30 million to find nothing. No conspiracy, no coordination whatsoever. Then it was impeachment 1, the anonymous whistleblower. We couldn't even know who was bringing the charge against the guy they were trying to take it, the guy we elected, who were they trying to kick out of office. We couldn't know. Secret hearings in the bunker, in the basement of the Capitol. Again, nothing. Then it was impeachment 2. No secret hearings here because they didn't have any hearings. It was the snap impeachment, and the Senate trial actually took place after President Trump wasn't in office. Then, of course, it was Alvin Bragg, who said before he got elected district attorney that there was no case here. Then he gets elected and changes his mind when the left starts pressuring him to go after President Trump. He hires Michael Colangelo, former Democrat National Committee consultant, and the number 3 guy at the Department of Justice. And then, of course, it's Fonnie and Nathan, Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade in Fulton County, Georgia. We actually deposed Mr. Wade, one of the most interesting depositions I've sat through. We said to him, you know, you billed taxpayers in Georgia thousands of dollars for meetings in D.C. with the January 6th committee and with the Biden administration. And we asked him some questions. did you talk to, Mr. Wade? He couldn't remember. We said, where'd you meet? Did you meet the Capitol? Did you meet the White House? Where'd you meet? Couldn't remember that either. We said, were these meetings in person, on the phone, or did you have a Zoom meeting? Couldn't remember, couldn't remember, couldn't remember. We finally just asked him, did you really come to D.C. and meet people? He said, oh yeah, I came, and I billed the taxpayers. I know I came, just no idea who he talked to or what he did. And then there was the raid on President Trump's home, you know, where they searched Barron's room and the First Lady's closet. In our deposition with Stephen D'Antuono, head of the FBI Washington field office, he told us none of the normal process, none of the normal protocol was followed in the investigation. He said, first of all, the case was run out of D.C. Normally you run it out of the Miami field office. No, we're gonna run out of D.C. He said he recommended, and the people in the FBI at the time in the Washington field office recommended they give the president notice before they do the search, or at least when they got there, before they start the search, call the president's lawyers, ask them to come there and meet them and conduct the search together. Again, the answer from Maine Justice was no. Which brings us back to Mr. Smith. On November 18th, 2022, 3 days after President Trump announces he's running for president, Attorney General Garland names Jack Smith special counsel. One of the first things Mr. Smith does is put on his team the very people responsible for the raid on President Trump's home. The very people. And then Jack Smith also puts on his team the people responsible for getting the phone records of dozens of members of Congress. People like Thomas Wyndham, who, when we deposed him, took the fifth 71 times. We've actually referred him to the Justice Department for obstructing our investigation. Jack Smith then gets a gag order in his investigation on President Trump from Judge Chutkan without filing a single affidavit with the court from a witness or a potential witness that they felt threatened by statements from the president. Stop and think about it. Jack Smith restricts the speech of the former president while he's a candidate for president. Thank goodness Mr. Smith was slapped down on appeal and the order was changed. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Washington Post editorial page, Jack Smith would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. I just want to read 2 sentences from this. Mr. Smith seemed unconcerned about interfering in the democratic process by seeking to muzzle a candidate for high office. 3 appellate judges, all nominated by Democrat presidents, ruled that Mr. Smith's proposed gag order infringed on President Trump's First Amendment rights. And of course they did. And this wasn't the only time Mr. Smith lost in court. In the classified documents case in Miami, Judge Cannon held that Mr. Smith was not permitted to be special counsel. Jack Smith was never properly appointed. In fact, he couldn't be properly appointed because he was never confirmed by the Senate for any position in the executive branch as the law requires. Here's what Judge Cannon stated. Quote, the special counsel's position effectively usurps that important legislative authority, transferring it to a head of department, and in the process threatening the structural liberty inherent in the separation of powers. And of course, on July 1st, 2024, the United States Supreme Court ruled that President Trump had immunity for actions taken in his official capacity as the president. 1 month later, after this decision by the Supreme Court, Jack Smith files a superseding indictment on August 27, 2024. But Mr. Smith doesn't stop there. He does something unprecedented. On October 2nd, he files a motion with the court before President Trump's defense counsel has even responded to the indictment. Everyone knows the normal process is the government indicts, the defense responds with some motions, and then the government responds to the defense. But Mr. Smith skips the second step. And the brief that he files is 165 pages, almost 4 times the court limit. Even liberal Judge Chutkan, who's given Jack Smith everything he's asked for in the course of this investigation, even she called it atypical and irregular. Now, why would Jack Smith do that? Why would he abandon proper procedure? Why would he ignore court rules? Why would he do that? Because he's running out of time. There's an election around the corner. It's coming in 33 days, and he's got to get President Trump. He's got to stop President Trump from running, tie him up in court. He's got to get to trial, or at a minimum, insert an 165-page political document into the presidential campaign. It was always about politics. The good news is the American people saw through it. They saw through it. For so long, the left has controlled so much in this country. The left controlled big media, the left controlled big tech, the left controlled academia, Hollywood, certainly the Democrat Party, and I think all too much the federal bureaucracy. But the left doesn't control we the people. And in spite of the left and the weaponization efforts of Jim Comey, Alvin Bragg, Bonnie Willis, and Jack Smith, we the people saw through it all. And we elected President Trump twice. Before turning to the ranking member for his opening statement, I would just ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the Washington Post editorial, Jack Smith would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. With that, I yield to the gentleman from Maryland.
Well, thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by recognizing the presence of 4 American heroes here today, 4 of the hundreds of officers who defended us on January 6, 2021, Michael Fanone, Aquilino Ganell, Daniel Hodges, and Harry Dunn. And I thank them for being here today. Mr. Smith, thank you for appearing before the American people. I'm glad that the committee has finally granted you the same chance to report your findings to the American people that every other special counsel investigating an American president has had. The good chairman started by saying it's all about the politics. Well, maybe for them, but for us, it's all about the rule of law and who's going to stand by the rule of law and who's going to oppose it. Now, Mr. Smith, you're one of America's great prosecutors. For nearly 3 decades, you worked for justice under both Republicans and Democrats. The Manhattan DA office, where you prosecuted sex crimes and domestic violence cases. The Eastern District of New York, where you prosecuted murderers, rapists, gangbangers, and other violent criminals. Leading the public integrity section at the Department of Justice, you brought prosecutions against corrupt public officials across the political spectrum. When you went to The Hague as chief prosecutor in the Kosovo trial, you prosecuted war crimes and crimes against humanity perpetrated against thousands of innocent victims. While others may have devoted their lives to corrupt self-enrichment, you have devoted your life to the rule of law and to public service. You've never been prosecuted for anything. You've never been convicted of anything. As far as I can tell, you've never even been the subject of a disciplinary proceeding over the course of your multi-decade career. But Donald Trump says you're a criminal and you belong in prison. He says you belong in prison, not because you did anything wrong, mind you, but because you did everything right. You pursued the facts, you followed the law, you stuck with extreme caution to every rule of professional responsibility. You had the audacity to do your job. Everybody here knows what you did wrong in Donald Trump's eyes and why he says you belong in prison. You found, and I quote from your sworn testimony before the committee, you found proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election and to prevent the lawful transfer of power. When asked whether you believe the evidence was enough to obtain a criminal conviction against Donald Trump at trial, you had a one-word answer: yes. When asked if Donald Trump was responsible for the violence that took place at the Capitol on January 6th, you said, our view of the evidence was that he caused it and that he exploited it and that it was foreseeable to him. You found that Trump knew he had lost the election. How? Well, his own Attorney General, William Barr, repeatedly told him so and described all of Trump's theories as BS. Trump's top campaign advisors told him he lost the election. Vice President Pence told him he lost the election. More than 60 federal, state, and court decisions, including 8 rendered by judges he appointed to the bench, rejected every outlandish election fraud and corruption claim that he made. Trump himself even privately acknowledged it, gesturing to Joe Biden on TV and saying, quote, "Can you believe I lost to that effing guy?" He knew he lost, but he threw everything into his big lie, which some people, even in this room to this day, will stand by and swear by. Well, when the big lie wasn't enough to convince officials like Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a Republican, to commit election fraud and just fine Trump 11,780 votes, when it wasn't enough to convince Trump's DOJ to, quote, "just call the election corrupt and leave the rest to me and the House Republicans," when it wasn't enough to force Vice President Mike Pence to announce and then exercise lawless powers to reject Electoral College votes and use counterfeit slates to anoint Trump the winner, that's when Trump incited mass violence on January 6th. While more than 140 officers were being brutally assaulted by Trump's mob, while rioters beat them with flagpoles and sprayed them with chemical agents and crushed them in doorways, and while they chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," and chased the vice president out of the Capitol, Trump and his team worked the phones, calling not the National Guard, which was under the direct unilateral control of Donald Trump, but calling members of Congress, urging them to delay certification and to nullify the election results. Special Counsel Smith, you pursued the facts. You followed every applicable law, ethics rule, and DOJ regulation. Your decisions were reviewed by the Public Integrity Section. You acted based solely on the facts, the opposite of Donald Trump, who now has purported to take over the Department of Justice. He's in charge of the whole thing under his unitary executive theory, and he acts openly, purely based on political vendetta and motives of personal revenge, and he doesn't deny it. Our colleagues have complained about the special counsel's review of toll records, which are phone records like a phone bill, showing only the timing and duration of calls and containing no content, no substance whatsoever from the calls. But those records were lawfully subpoenaed because Donald Trump made those members of Congress relevant to the investigation. It was Trump who chose to call them to advance his criminal scheme. As you testified, Mr. Smith, if Donald Trump had chosen to call a number of Democratic senators, we would have gotten toll records for them too. I trust our colleagues get the point because America certainly gets the point. There is much Mr. Smith still can't talk about, though we know he badly wants to. His investigation developed what he calls powerful evidence that Trump stole documents containing our country's most sensitive secrets, hoarded them in the ballrooms and the bathrooms of his well-trafficked Mar-a-Lago social club. He showed them off to visitors, and then he obstructed a federal investigation by instructing his attorney to pluck out anything really bad before turning materials over to the FBI and having his staff delete incriminating security tape footage. But today we're not going to hear a lot about that because you are gagged by an absurd judicial order rendered faithfully by Trump's most servile and sycophantic appointee to the federal bench, Judge Eileen Cannon. This order not only blocks release of Volume 2 of your report, which is unprecedented, about the classified document scam, it also gags you from discussing the report or its contents with us, with America. And so we don't know what's in it, but it must be pretty devastating because Donald Trump is desperate to keep Mr. Smith or any other DOJ official for all time from ever releasing it to Congress and to the American people. Now, Mr. Smith, if any of our colleagues foolishly choose to attack you and vilify you today, and I know that's not going to happen from some serious prosecutors over there like Mr. Knott and Mr. Schmidt, who understand what federal prosecutors do and what the rule of law means. But if anybody decides to attack you personally, they will only be revealing their own ignorance of what prosecutors do and their own indifference to what the rule of law requires in America. They will only be stroking the wounded ego of a lawless, twice impeached convicted felon president who not only unleashed a mob against Congress and his own vice president, but is now pardoned and released into our communities hundreds of extremists, insurrectionists, and cop-beating felons who have proceeded to commit dozens more crimes against the American people since they were pardoned. Mr. Smith, I understand you are a long-distance marathon runner. I read that you're a triathlete who's done more than 100 triathlons and 9 Ironman competitions. You are in the fight for justice and the rule of law for the long distance, for the long haul, and I thank you for that. And we should all try to follow your example. America looks forward to your testimony today. I yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman yields back without objection. All of their opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness. Mr. Jack Smith was appointed as special counsel on November 18th, 2022. He served until January 7th, 2025. We welcome our witness today. We'll begin by swearing you in. Would you please rise and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God?
I do.
Let the record reflect that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You can be seated. Please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony. Mr. Smith, you may begin.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to discuss my work as special counsel. I love my country and believe deeply in the core principles upon which it was founded. For nearly 3 decades, I've served as a career prosecutor in both Republican and Democratic administrations. I've handled cases ranging from domestic assault and gang violence to public corruption and election crimes across the United States, and I've prosecuted war crimes overseas. I am not a politician, and I have no partisan loyalties. My career has been dedicated to serving our country by upholding the rule of law. Throughout my public service, my approach has always been the same: follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. Experienced prosecutors know that specific case outcomes are beyond our control. Our responsibility is to do the right thing, the right way, for the right reasons. These principles have guided me through my career, including as special counsel. I'm proud of the work my team did, and I appreciate the opportunity to appear here today to correct false and misleading narratives about our work. During my tenure as special counsel, we followed Justice Department policies, we observed legal requirements, and took actions based on the facts and the law. I made my decisions without regard to President Trump's political association, activities, beliefs, or candidacy in the 2024 election. President Trump was charged because the evidence established that he willfully broke the law, the very laws he took an oath to uphold. Grand juries in 2 separate districts reached this conclusion based on his actions, as alleged in the indictments they returned. Rather than accept his defeat in the 2020 election, President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results and prevent the lawful transfer of power. After leaving office in January of 21, President Trump illegally kept classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago social club and repeatedly tried to obstruct justice to conceal his continued retention of those documents. Highly sensitive national security information was held in a ballroom and a bathroom. As I testify before the committee today, I want to be clear. I stand by my decisions as special counsel, including the decision to bring charges against President Trump. Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican. No one should be above the law in this country, and the law required that he be held to account, so that is what I did. To have done otherwise on the facts of these cases would have been to shirk my duties as a prosecutor and as a public servant, of which I had no intention of doing. I remain grateful for the counsel, judgment, and advice of my team. President Trump has sought to seek revenge against career prosecutors, FBI agents, and support staff simply for having worked on these cases. To vilify and seek retribution against these people is wrong. Those dedicated public servants are the best of us, and it has been a privilege to serve with them. After nearly 30 years of public service, including in international settings, I have seen how the rule of law can erode. My fear is that we have seen the rule of law function in our country for so long that many of us have come to take it for granted. The rule of law is not self-executing. It depends on our collective commitment to apply it. It requires dedicated service on behalf of others, especially when that service is difficult and comes with costs. Our willingness to pay those costs is what tests and defines our commitment to the rule of law and to this wonderful country. Thank you.
Gentlemen, we will now proceed under the 5-minute rule. We have votes coming in any minute now, but I think we'll have time for 3 or 4 members to get their 5-minute questions in before the committee will take a recess to go vote. They are not going to close the vote until we get there. I know that much. So we will start with the gentleman from California. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. When Attorney General Garland appointed you, he cited the particularly sensitive matters at issue and extraordinary circumstances as the reason for appointing a special counsel. What did you take that to mean?
What I understood that to mean is I was to conduct an independent investigation and come to my own conclusions about whether the facts and the law supported a prosecution.
But clearly he was alluding to the fact that we had an investigation into a leading candidate for president. That was part of the extraordinary circumstances. Would you agree?
I will rely on his public statements about that. I understood my role as special counsel was governed by the regulations, which required me to make an independent decision on my own.
So certainly you would agree it was important to approach the investigation with humility and restraint. Is that fair?
Yes, and that's what I sought to do. I sought to
conduct... And you thought you possessed those qualities. In fact, you testified at your deposition, quote, "I thought I was the right person for the job." Of course, some disagreed. Constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, for example, has said, quote, "Jack Smith has a reputation for stretching criminal statutes beyond the breaking point." I assume you disagree with that statement by Professor Turley.
I do disagree with that statement. I think my career speaks for itself. I have been
But that statement was also, and I'm sorry to have to interrupt, I just have a short amount of time. That statement was also echoed by the United States Supreme Court in a unanimous opinion in McDonald versus the United States, where the court overturned convictions that you had pursued against a former governor, criticizing your boundless interpretation of the federal criminal statute. At issue, that opinion was joined by Justices Ginsburg, Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan. So do you also disagree with that statement by those justices?
I have conducted my career in a nonpartisan fashion. That particular case, the legal position that the department took, that wasn't my personal position. That was the position of the department.
I see. So, Mr. Smith, I've had the opportunity during my time on this committee to review the work of 2 special counsels, John Durham, appointed during the Trump administration, and Robert Hur during the Biden administration. And in both cases, they seem to exhibit that humility and restraint that we talked about. But in reviewing in detail the way you conducted this investigation, I see a very different mode of operation. One that sought maximum litigation advantage at every turn, one that repeatedly circumvented constitutional limitations to the point that you had to be reined in again and again throughout the process. For example, shortly after you became special counsel, you issued a subpoena for the phone records of the Speaker of the House of Representatives over a 2-month period, along with for other senators and representatives, even though the public integrity section at DOJ cited litigation risk to doing this. What was that litigation risk?
Looking for tax help? Now there are TurboTax experts right in your neighborhood. They get to know your
approving those subpoenas, noted the fact that the subpoenas were for records for people who were not targets of our investigation.
But they said there was a litigation risk and you moved forward with it anyway. And not only that, but you also sought orders from judges making it so those who were having their records seized would not know about it. And you even didn't tell those judges that it was members of Congress whose records you were going after, in apparent contravention of a federal statute saying that a telephone provider for a Senate office shall not be barred from providing notice that the records had been requested. Now, if you sought to do that today, would you be able to get away with that, with asking the judges for a non-disclosure order without telling them these are members of Congress?
When we secured these toll record subpoenas, it was done consistent with department policy. You're correct in that that policy has since changed.
They changed the policy based upon the actions that you took. Similarly, you issued a gag order against President Trump that the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals vacated as overbroad. Is that correct?
Well, the D.C. Court of Appeals, in passing on that order, found that it was justified. They narrowed the order, but they confirmed that the phenomenon—
They narrowed the order because it was overbroad. In addition to that, you sought an early trial date that the district court rejected, and when you presented your prosecution memo to Attorney General Garland, it's been reported that he was visibly unimpressed and expressed First Amendment concerns. So, Mr. Smith, looking at the record, I see that you were reversed and rebuked by the Department of Justice itself, by the Attorney General, by the Solicitor General, by multiple district court judges, by the Court of Appeals, and by the U.S. Supreme Court itself. So my final question is, do you believe that you made any mistakes? Do you have any regrets as to how you conducted this investigation?
If I have any regret, it would be not expressing enough appreciation for my staff who work so hard in these investigations. We followed the facts and the law. These people who work for me sacrificed endlessly and have endured way too much for just doing their job. So if anything, I wish that I had thanked them.
Time of the gentleman.
So no mistakes. There's that humility. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Yeah, time of the gentleman's right. The chair now recognizes the ranking member for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the good gentleman from California certainly knows, because he was a student of mine, that lawyers go to court and sometimes they win motions and sometimes they lose motions, and there's no crime in any of that. And I'm just sorry that you had to be lectured about humility and restraint by a politician, because we might not be best poised to lecture you on those particular virtues. But let's go to the toll record, since that's been raised, Mr. Smith. First of all, Congress has allowed toll records to be subpoenaed. This committee has actually tried to limit it over the years, and the senators who are whining the most over on the Republican side in the Senate, they never went along with our determination to try to limit the government's ability to subpoena toll records. So it's perfectly lawful what you did. Explain, why did you want those toll records?
Shop Granger.
COVID. To be specific, COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Testing is a double-edged sword. They test and they test. People don't know what's going on. We got tests, they got tests. You do testing, you're gonna find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down. You know what? We got another one over here. Yeah. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. That's a case. That's a case. Thank you, China. Send us the plague. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Despite the fact that we
wanted to conduct a thorough investigation of the matters that was assigned to me, including attempts to interfere with the lawful transfer of power. The conspiracy that we were investigating, it was relevant to get toll records to understand the scope of that conspiracy, who they were seeking to coerce, who they were seeking to influence, who was seeking to help them.
And that's normal investigative practice, right?
In conducting a criminal investigation, securing non-content toll records, as you described, is a common practice in almost any complex conspiracy.
Okay, let's go to something else that I've been hearing over the last week by our colleagues as they've eagerly anticipated your arrival here. They've been saying that there's some kind of First Amendment defense that Donald Trump would have had to the crimes you indicted him for. Is there a valid First Amendment defense to defrauding the public? Is there a valid First Amendment defense to disrupting a federal proceeding? Is there a valid First Amendment defense to violating the voting rights of the people and cheating the public out of a fair election?
The First Amendment is something that we took seriously in our investigation. But the First Amendment does not protect speech that facilitates a crime. Speech that is used to facilitate a crime, a fraud crime in particular, is not protected under the First Amendment. The Supreme Court precedent on that is clear. This is an issue that we litigated before the district court, and the district court ruled, as I just stated, that it is not in fact protected.
And the case law is perfectly clear on this, right? All frauds are perpetrated by speech, right?
Yes.
All conspiracies are perpetrated by speech. So just because your criminal conduct is brigaded with speech doesn't somehow mean you've got a First Amendment defense against trying to overthrow the government. I mean, the people who attacked the police officers on January 6th were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." I suppose that was political speech, or they were saying, "Stop the steal." Does that mean they've got a First Amendment defense to violent assault against the officers?
It does not.
William Barr, by the way, was somebody who was perfectly clear about that. Donald Trump's own attorney general said, there's no freedom of speech that you have to engage in a conspiracy, to overthrow an election, to commit crime. He was perfectly clear about that. Back in those days, in fact, lots of people on that side of the aisle, including my good friend, the chairman, denounced the violence that took place on January 6th. The cat's got their tongue these days. My friend Chairman Jordan said, what happened last week was terrible, was tragic. It's as wrong can be, he said. Republicans, we know all political violence is wrong. I asked my friend Chairman Jordan at a rules hearing, are you also not interested in what happened to us on January 6th? He said, of course, everyone's interested in holding people accountable who did wrong. The FBI is doing that. The Justice Department is doing that, appropriately so. What do you think about the attack on the Department of Justice and the special counsel for doing your jobs?
I think the attack is unjustified. I think the people who worked with me as career public servants are people, they're part of the reason I've been a prosecutor for so long is to work with people like that, not just the prosecutors in my office, but also the agents FBI agents who are heroes, who have served their country not only as agents, but also overseas. I think those attacks are unwarranted based on the facts, and I think that they have no basis in who we are as Americans, as a country. I don't see attacking people like that as anything appropriate.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back to you.
The gentleman yields back. Mr. Smith, is Cassidy Hutchinson a liar? She was their star witness. January 6th committee, their star witness in one of those staged and choreographed hearings they paid the former president of ABC News to put together. She was, in fact, the only witness at this special prime time hearing, Tuesday, June 28th, 2022, 8 o'clock in the evening, and she told some stories. I mean, these were some stories. She talked about President lunged across the back seat, grabbed the steering wheel, tried to drive the car to the Capitol. And I just want to know, you think she was lying?
Chairman Jordan, my assessment of that particular issue is that with respect to the testimony about the president lunging towards the driver, my recollection of her testimony about that is that it was secondhand. She said she'd heard that from somebody.
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
I'm sorry?
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
Yes.
White House Deputy Chief of Operations, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, right? You remember what he said about it?
As I sit here right now, I do not.
Yeah, he said it didn't happen. How about Bobby Engel? You familiar with that name?
Yes, I am.
Secret Service agent who was actually in the car that day. You know what he said? He said it didn't happen. And they both said the first time they ever heard this story was when Ms. Hutchinson testified in the primetime hearing as their star witness of the January 6th committee. By the way, did you ever confirm her testimony about this particular incident?
Think safety. Think Grainger. For trusted products to lock, anchor, contain, and protect. Grainger. Call, click, or just stop by.
Looking for tax help? Now there are TurboTax experts right in your neighborhood.
I did, and I was referring particularly to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and you also said Ms. Hutchinson and witness, we ask you, if you were a defense attorney, how would you handle cross-examining her if she was on the witness stand? And you said, if I were a defense attorney and Ms. Hutchinson were a witness, the first thing I would do was seek to preclude her testimony because it was hearsay. You remember saying all that?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
That's correct, right? Were you going to put her on the witness stand if you ever got to trial?
We had not made final determinations as to who we were going to call as a witness. We had a large...
You were still considering her?
We had a large choice of witnesses in this case.
Are you familiar with what Washington Post reporters Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis said in their book? They did this book, 300-some pages book on chronicling the whole investigation of the Justice Department. And here's what they said on page 310. They said Jack Smith had wondered whether some of Hutchinson's claims might be relied upon at trial. Still, at one point, Smith told the elections team he wasn't ready to give up on Hutchinson's account. Ultimately, how fiercely disputed her accounts under oath. Prosecutors on your team told Smith they wouldn't want to use Hutchinson as a witness in court, and Smith agreed. Are Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis, who wrote this, are they lying?
My recollection is that I certainly had not made any.
That's the point. That is the point. The fact that they used her in a primetime hearing and you won't rule out using her, or didn't rule out using her, putting her on the witness stand when everybody knows she wasn't telling the truth, that says it all. That's the degree the left and Democrats were willing to go to get President Trump. Putting on the witness stand it up. Everybody knows that. And you were willing to do it. By the way, you know how many times Cassidy Hutchinson was mentioned in their report, the January 6th report? Any idea, Mr. Smith?
I do not.
185 times. Someone that the whole country knows wasn't telling the truth, and you were still considering putting her on the witness stand because you had to get President Trump. And everybody can see that. We better take a recess for votes. We will resume as soon as votes are over. Back here 10 minutes after. Mrs. Smith, you guys can go back to the room that you were in.
You've been watching our live coverage of former special counsel Jack Smith testifying on his investigations and prosecutions of President Trump before the House Judiciary Committee. The panel is now taking a break as members are heading to the floor to cast their votes. When the hearing restarts, be sure to follow our live coverage right here on C-SPAN 2.
However you book your flight, first check Kayak to compare hundreds of travel sites. Then, do...
his mind when the left starts pressuring him to go after President Trump. He hires Michael Colangelo, former Democrat National Committee consultant, and the number 3 guy at the Department of Justice. And then, of course, it's Bonnie and Nathan, Bonnie Willis and Nathan Wade in Fulton County, Georgia. We actually deposed Mr. Wade, one of the most interesting depositions I've sat through. We said to him, you know, you billed taxpayers in Georgia thousands of dollars for meetings in D.C. with the January 6th committee and with the Biden administration. And we asked him some questions. Who'd you talk to, Mr. Wade? He couldn't remember. We said, where'd you meet? Did you meet the Capitol? Did you meet the White House? Where'd you meet? Couldn't remember that either. We said, were these meetings in person, on the phone, or did you have a Zoom meeting? Couldn't remember, couldn't remember, couldn't remember. We finally just asked him, did you really come to D.C. and meet people? He said, oh yeah, I came, and I billed the taxpayers. I know too, or what he did. And then there was the raid on President Trump's home, you know, where they searched Barron's room and the First Lady's closet. In our deposition with Stephen D'Antuono, head of the FBI Washington field office, he told us none of the normal process, none of the normal protocol was followed in the investigation. He said, first of all, the case was run out of D.C. Normally you run it out of the Miami field office. No, 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 we're gonna run out of D.C. He said he recommended, and the people in the FBI at the time in the Washington field office recommended they give the president notice before they do the search, or at least when they got there, before they start the search, call the president's lawyers, ask them to come there and meet them and conduct the search together. Again, the answer from Maine Justice. People like Thomas Wyndham, who, when we deposed him, took the fifth 71 times. We've actually referred him to the Justice Department for obstructing our investigation. Jack Smith then gets a gag order in his investigation on President Trump from Judge Chutkan without filing a single affidavit with the court from a witness or a potential witness that they felt threatened by statements from the president. Stop and think about it. Jack Smith restricts the speech of the former president while he's a candidate for president. Thank goodness Mr. Smith was slapped down on appeal and the order was changed. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Washington Post editorial page, Jack Smith would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. I just want to read 2 sentences from this. Mr. Smith seemed unconcerned about interfering in the democratic process by seeking to muzzle a candidate for high office. 3 appellate judges, all nominated by Democrat presidents, ruled that Mr. Smith's proposed gag order infringed on President Trump's First Amendment rights. And of course they did. And this wasn't the only time Mr. Smith lost in court. In the classified documents case in Miami, Judge Cannon held that Mr. Smith was not permitted to be special counsel. Jack Smith was never properly appointed. In fact, he couldn't be properly appointed because he was never confirmed by the Senate for any position in the executive branch as the law requires. Here's what Judge Cannon stated. Quote, the special counsel's position effectively usurps that important legislative authority, transferring it to a head of department and in the process threatening the structural liberty inherent in the separation of powers. And of course, on July 1st, 2024, the United States Supreme Court ruled that President Trump had immunity for actions taken in his official capacity as the president. 1 month later, after this decision by the Supreme Court, Jack Smith files a superseding indictment on August 27th, 2024. But Mr. Smith doesn't stop there. He does something unprecedented. On October 2nd, he files a motion with the court before President Trump's defense counsel has even responded to the indictment. Everyone knows the normal process is the government indicts, the defense responds with some motions, and then the government responds to the defense. But Mr. Smith skips the second step, and the brief that he files is 165 pages, almost 4 times the court limit. Even liberal Judge Chutkan, who's given Jack Smith everything he's asked for in the course of this investigation, even she called it atypical and irregular. Now, why would Jack Smith do that? Why would he abandon proper procedure? Why would he ignore court rules? Why would he do that? Because he's running out of time. There's an election around the corner. It's coming in 33 days, and he's got to get President Trump. He's got to stop President Trump from running, tie him up in court. He's got to get to trial, or at a minimum,